Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have a sharp game to share with you from 1966. On the white end, Bobby Fischer playing against Borislav Ivkov, a three-time Yugoslav champion. He won it in 1958, 1964, and the same year Fischer became world champion, 1972. Okay, the opening we have here, Fischer goes for the King's Indian attack setup. The moves you're seeing here for white call it a universal setup. You do this pretty much against whatever black throws your way. The question here, what will black's setup look like? The king knight uncommitted does not go to its favorite square in this game. The setup here is with bishop d6 and knight g to e7. We are 7 moves into this 29 move game. With this arrangement, black has an eye, the bishop here on d6, black has an eye on e5. A familiar pawn advance out of the King's Indian attack is e4 to e5. More work to be done before white can actually play that move now. With the king knight on e7 rather than f6, something we can say, it's a very flexible arrangement here for black. All pawns have the option to advance for black. In fact, there's only one pawn in the position that cannot move, f2, until now. From here, b6, f4, and black's play from here, very direct. He takes on e4 and follows that up with a couple consistent, forceful moves. We'll see what that is shortly. Something I questioned, what if black doesn't initiate the exchange here on e4? Suppose black says, you know what, I still want to keep my 4th rank pawn around. I don't want to take on e4 and trade off 4th rank versus your 3rd rank. What's happening if f6 is played here and black cuts out this idea of e5? It's too difficult to really say exactly. What we're looking at here is a structure that's yet to be defined, not a single case of fixed pawns just yet. These next handful of moves are likely to be a bit on the slower, strategic side. I want to give you at least a feel for a move or two you can be considering as white in the event of f6. This here is a healthy start. c3, control a couple squares from the knight. That's one way to view it. You can also view it as supporting this idea of b4. Have a knight pawn attack a slightly more valuable pawn, bishop pawn. If black interferes with that, okay, now this is something we can point to. Our first case of fixed pawns, also a weakened square here on b5. It wouldn't be unrealistic to think about a knight transfer at this stage here. Okay, something to consider here as white in the case of f6. But how it is played here, again, very direct play. We see the capture on e4, bishop development with tempo, rook e1. Bishop also, from this a6 square, now supports c4, which paves the way for bishop c5. Black has a good response now to this e5 push. Also, c3 can be super disruptive. That would create a ton of weaknesses on Fischer's queen side, so Fischer prevents any c3 idea, c3 himself. Now there's a big weakness in white's camp, d3. There's one piece that would be a great bother to white. If it gets there, a knight. Not so easy, however, for a black knight to get to d3. All right, from here, black goes with knight a5. Computer doesn't like this. Computer's leaning towards queen c7, rook a to d8. Okay, in this one we see knight a5. Why was maybe knight a5 played here? I believe we have a sort of changing of the guard going on. The knight now defends c4. The bishop is now ready to go elsewhere, compete along that main diagonal. All right, from here we now see e5, bishop check, king h1, and from here, knight d5 is played. And believe it or not, after knight d5, the position is lost for black. Black already has to be precise here. Here's what the computer has its eye on. A pawn sacrifice. It says put this bishop on this diagonal straight away and give up this c4 pawn. It wants to play this position here. There is an exposed white king here. Two nice diagonals here for black. Black has the safer king. Okay, not how it is played in this game. We don't see bishop b7, knight d5. Okay, maybe a jump here on e3, but not happening. From here, knight e4. This is covered, and this here a fantastic piece. Follow-up, bishop b7, and Fischer's move here, he goes with queen to h5. Now, you could go ahead and take this bishop and saddle black with double isolated c-pawns. So Fischer doesn't go for this. He plays queen h5 instead. This is also a strong move. And it just gives us some insight into how Fischer was seeing this position, how he valued this knight in this position. The idea that you can exchange your bishop for, or excuse me, the knight for a bishop and saddle black with those ugly c-pawns like that, and you don't go for it. He's saying the knight is stronger than the bishop in this position. There's an idea to maybe now connect with this queen on h5. Knight g5 can be a move. Mate threats on h7. Maybe an accident happens on f7 or e6. Okay, very strong piece. Now, black's play from here, he goes with knight e7. If black tries an f-pawn advance here, f6 or f5, let me touch on each briefly. f5, there's knight g5, that's crushing. And there's a fork, a mate threat on h7. In the case of f6, it says you could play f5 straight away, or even revisit this idea to exchange knight for bishop, and then play f5, open up the eyes of the now unopposed bishop. So this is an excellent, a decisive advantage here for white. A knight here that is clueless, a5 knight. Okay, we don't see f6. It is knight e7. Now comes g4. Fischer wants the f5 pawn break. Very difficult to hold this idea up. Now black's play from here. Bishop captures knight. Here's a move I tested out. What if knight g6 is played? What's the reaction exactly? There's only one real top move here, and that is to duck the knight exchange. Knight g6, knight f3 would be the way. And now f5 is going to hit that much harder, hit with tempo. And there really wouldn't be a way for black to hold up this idea. So I had to look at queen c7 here, keeping pressure on e5. That's not going to prevent f5. You can still play it. If knight takes e5, there's an eventual pin on that knight. Bad news ahead for black. Okay, we don't see knight g6. It is the bishop for knight exchange, a mate threat now on h7. From here, g6 is played. If black plays h6 instead, okay, here we go. There would be f5, and you are asking for a sacrifice on h6. Now, in this position, in such a position with h6 played and f5, it's not only the knight here on a5 that is out of play, but also the bishop. It's sort of just not productive. It's staring off into space. If there's some bishop f2 move, this is how bad this position is for black here. You could ignore the threat and just smash right through here on h6. And in this position here, the top move for black, facing f6 and then a mate on g7, top move is Queen d2, giving up a full queen. Okay, this is a devastating attack here by white. Black's response to the mate threat: g6, queen h6, knight d5, f5. Now what? Black's play is with rook e8, and then he's trying to extract the queen with bishop f8, but this is far too slow. Now, what happens if black captures on f5? If you take with the e pawn or g pawn, white's response can be the same. Knight recapture. This is crushing. This would be crushing. Mate threat on g7 now. And if you take the knight, how are you handling the mate on h7? You can't deal with this. If rook to e8 here, we would have the familiar mate in 4 pattern with bishop takes h7, bishop g6, discovered check, check, checkmate. Okay. Black's play in this position here, he does not flinch, does not bite on f5, rook e8, but Fischer is simply there first, crashes through on g6, f takes g6, opens up possibly 7th rank defense, but we have the sacrifice. Knight captures g6. You can't take the knight. It'll lead to mate. Queen d7 is played here. If pawn takes knight, queen captures pawn, king h8, queen h7 mate. And if king f8, we would have bishop h6 check and a couple mate in ones to choose from. Okay. Knight here, poison. Queen d7, Fischer's up a pawn, and the attack continues. Challenges with this knight f4 move, challenges black's best piece. From here, rook a to d8. Now he angles into that f6 square. King h8, knight f6 with the fork. Now Fischer has a passed pawn to work with. Bishop pair, knight still not a contributor. From here, rook g8, how to defend the pawn, who cares about the pawn at this point? Let's finish development. From here, it's bishop f4, rook takes g4, and rook a to d1. Now what? Black's play, from here, he doubles rooks. If queen captures rook, we're not recapturing. If you recapture, black would be delivering checkmate. We would give checkmate right here. Queen captures rook. There's queen captures h7. Ball game. So black's try at this point here, doubles rooks. And after just one more move, f7, black resigns. Now rather than f7, if you take the queen, you'll be getting mated. There would be rook g1. Couple captures there. The bishop is supporting the checkmate. f7, final move. What is f7 not doing? My goodness. I mean, we got the rook attacked, queen cut from the defense of h7, and a diagonal has just opened up towards the king. Bishop e5 is going to be deadly. Black doesn't have a good response here. So if it played out, queen captures pawn, bishop e5 check. Pick your favorite way to block the check. It doesn't matter. White's response will be the same in each case. Queen captures h7 is there for mate. What a pretty finish this would be. Look at these pieces in the final position. Beautiful centralization of the rooks, the bishops. What a crushing game, this one right here. Anyhow, your thoughts with this one. Feel free as usual to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.